Welcome to our Backyard Brothers podcast. We're short a member today, but we're going to see him in a little bit. He sent some reaction videos knowing that he'd be out today. And so we're going to pull him up on our screen in a little bit as we talk about the NBA Finals. Um, we don't have a memory today or anything like that because we wanted to wait for all four of us to be here. But anything from you guys before we just dive right into the NBA Finals?
I'll get it off first. Man, it sucks that Tyrese Halliburton got injured in the first quarter, but that would be my only pre-NBA thing leading in is how bad that sucked.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk a lot about that. Dustin has some things about that too. But all right, so let me share the screen for all of you to see. Um, oops, I have to go over here. I always forget how to do this. Share my screen. Okay. Do you all see this NBA playoff screen? Pacers against Thunder.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. We covered the first three games last time, and so we'll cover the last four games this time because this was the first NBA Finals to go 7 games since 2016. And so great series to have here. Game 4 is where we started off, where the Thunder won 111 to 104 in a pretty hotly contested game. Thunder pulled away near the end. Excuse me. Game 5, the Thunder dominated 120 to 109. The score was a little closer than the game really was. Because the Pacers kind of made a run near the end, but it was the Thunder all the way for Game 5, and so they returned to Indiana with a chance to win on the Pacers' home floor. Instead, the Pacers blew them out. It was never close. The Pacers won there by what is that, 17 points? So but again, they were up by 30. The Pacers were in the second half, and everyone rested their starters in the fourth quarter, and Thunder made a little bit of a run. So that was also, even though it's not close at all in the final score, the score wasn't even as close as that. And then Game 7, back in OKC, Yancey just mentioned it. Tyrese Halliburton ruptured his Achilles in the first quarter, and the Thunder still kind of struggled a little bit in the first half, even without Halliburton. It was a pretty close halftime score, and then they kind of figured it out, especially on the defensive end, to pull away in the fourth quarter and win the franchise's first championship since the 1970s. So, with that in mind, let's start with Dustin, since I am already sharing my screen. I'm going to pull up my downloads. Are you still seeing my screen with this video player?
Yep.
Okay.
So the Thunder are NBA. This is so exciting. I spent entire games standing up in my living room watching the Thunder play that game and eventually win.
We don't hear anything.
Oh,
I watched.
that's a problem. Let's. Oops.
We heard him start out. He said something about the Thunder, and then it just cut out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
Odd.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, same thing over here.
I thought I might need to share audio or something, but you heard it at the beginning. So let me try it again and see what you guys might hear.
So the Thunder are NBA.
Do you hear it?
This is so exciting. I spent.
No.
I don't know why that would be. I know that those that I'm recording it, and so it's going to be heard on the actual podcast. But I want you guys to hear it too. So how do I?
Do you want to play them through and then give us a summary?
Yeah. So Dustin,
if we can't hear them, but the pod can.
Yeah, I'll play that through, and I don't know why you guys weren't able to hear it, but
standing up in my living room watching
Okay.
the Thunder play that game and eventually win it. And I watched all the post conference, all the award things, everything that they had to show, just sitting there, just taking it in. I'm so excited. I'll have more reactions on everything, but this is great. This is just great.
Okay, so in that one, Dustin was saying that he is so excited that the Thunder are NBA champions. He watched the entire post game standing up in his living room, watching the awards and just taking it all in. The first time that his team has won a championship in his lifetime. So, for those of us that are in those shoes, like Yancey, your Colts won a championship back in the 2007, and Cody, your Seahawks won in 2012, and my 49ers haven't won in my specific lifetime, or when I have at least been watching football. But so, yeah. Let's see. I'm going to pull up another one here that we wanted to we'll talk about, and let's see if you'll hear this one or not. But I'm going to play it through, and hopefully you guys hear it. You see him, though, I'm assuming.
No, we're not seeing anything.
You're not seeing him anymore. So let me share my
Don't
screen.
see or hear anything.
Okay. Well, I wasn't playing anything, so you shouldn't have heard it. That's for sure. So. Okay. Now you should see it. The black video box.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Going down in the first quarter was sad. I wish that hadn't happened and he had had that calf injury, and we've seen it time and time and time again, especially in the NBA, that players have a calf injury, say, oh, I'm going to play through it, especially in the playoffs, and then they rupture their it's happened with Kevin Durant, it's happened with Jason Tatum, and now with Tyrese Halliburton. And I think it's a message to the NBA and these players specifically. You need to take leg injuries seriously because it'll only get worse with a Achilles rupture.
Did you guys hear him?
No, we couldn't
Nope.
hear it. But
Okay.
I never thought being a deaf schizophrenic would be funny, but it is.
So what he said is he was really saddened by Tyrese Halliburton's injury there. Obviously, it had a big impact in the game. But what he talked about was obviously Halliburton was struggling already with a calf injury. And we see this all the time. We saw it with Kevin Durant. We saw it with Klay Thompson. We saw it this year with Jason Tatum. We've seen all these things happen where these guys will say they're going to push through the injury. And when they do, all four of those guys tore their Achilles. And so you really need to keep your health. You need to keep know that leg injuries are serious. And that was his big thing. And he also later said that the Thunder still struggled a little bit after Halliburton left, but they were able to figure it out in the end there with defense, and in particular just really shut him down with Chet Holmgren blocking some shots, and said that it was really great to see, but obviously wishes that Halliburton wouldn't have gone down. The Pacers struggled offensively in the second half without him, without their best player there.
Yeah, that was a rough one to watch. You could tell Tyrese was in a good amount of pain whenever he went down, and that wasn't something that was going to be like, we'll go in the locker room and check it out and come back. It was pretty obvious to me, and I think other people watching that was it. You know, he's going to be coming out for the game probably, and then when you receive the information that's accurate, you know, you can't go out there with no tires and with with an Achilles injury, especially, it's terribly hard to move with no Achilles. It hurts bad. It's one of that little tendon on the back of your ankle, and I've stressed that before, and it swelled up like half a baseball off the back of my ankle with just a strain, not a tear or anything like that. And so I can't imagine that he could run, jump, walk, do anything athletic on that after that injury, having experienced a much more moderate version of something like that. So, that sucks. I hope that he heals up good and comes back, because his potential is just skyrocketing. And then for him to get injured like that in the last game of the season is really kind of heartbreaking. I mean, that just sucks. I was really looking forward to seeing Indiana pull through and kind of shock everybody and win this championship. But with that injury on top of it, it was just too much. And to the Thunder's credit, they played very good defense and found the way to shut down the rest of the tools. So good for them.
Yeah,
You guys are
yeah, I
frozen.
agree. Just to add to that, I mean, it's unfortunate that injuries are a part of the game. It's just kind of what it is, unfortunately. And with that kind of injury, like we're just talking about, that wasn't only you're not coming back in this game. Had that happened halfway through the season, he probably wouldn't have come back the rest of the season. It was a out for season kind of injury, let alone an out for the rest of the game, obviously. So, just thoughts and support and prayer to that he heals fine, he can come back next season and play as well as he was, or even better. With that being said, with this being a part of the game, my thoughts, and this is coming from a guy I was more rooting for the Pacers than the Thunder, so I'm curious if Dustin would have a different view on this, but it almost seems like not a true championship win for the Thunder, because they didn't really play the true Pacers. They didn't play the best Pacers. Their best player went out. They still had some competition, but it wasn't anything at that point. They were playing good defense. They were taking balls away, stealing them like none other. They won almost by default. And that's the way I see it. And so I can imagine, especially Thunder fans would disagree with me heavily. But for me, that's kind of the way I see it. They won the championship. Good job to them. But there's an asterisk there.
Yeah, you guys are frozen on my screen, and thus the screen of the podcast. I wonder if you guys kill your video and then try again, if you'll get back on or not, or we'll stay.
Still?
Yeah, you're still frozen on my screen. Oh wait, there you go. Now you're trying to get back. It's trying really hard.
We're good on my screen.
It's just blinking little boxes. That's odd. Don't know. Let's see.
I'll
if
give
I
it a
kill
second
my-
shot. We good?
It's still just not registering a camera on my end. I don't know why.
I see Cody and you.
Yeah,
And me.
It's got to be my network for some reason. That's not. It said that both of you failed to start camera on my screen, even though you probably see me just fine. But it's just odd. Sorry for those watching or listening after the fact here. Technical issues still bothering us.
We can edit this too.
Yeah, I mean, I show up fine, but you guys don't.
Do you want to put up your hands, so that way, Scott, you can go in and edit this. We'll end the call, come back in, and you'll know exactly where we're at, where we need to start the edit. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Bet.
We're doing it right now.
Let's come back in and reconnect the call.
I like it.
Does that work?
Yes, it does. Now you're back, Cody. And Yancey, you're back too. So great.
Cool.
Okay, and now from here.
Yep,
Okay.
hands back up. That ought to
Okay.
tell you. That's just a good trick for cutting stuff.
Yeah, little technical issue, but we're all back, so that's good that we can see everyone now. Yeah, Cody, to answer your question, and this is coming from someone who was cheering for the Pacers as well. A championship is a championship. There is no injuries are part of the game, and we see it happen in NFL as well. I mean, you see. I'm trying to think of an example, but like like even this last Super Bowl, the Chiefs came in kind of a pretty banged up team, especially on the offensive line, and the Eagles just took easy advantage of that, and they hounded Mahomes all day, and they had some other guys like Rashi Rice was injured from the beginning of the season that couldn't play, and but that doesn't take away the Eagles championship. Just like it doesn't take away the Thunder's. I do understand what you're saying because I think even the Thunder would prefer that Tyrese Halliburton was playing so that there's not this invisible asterisk somewhere that fans can call out and say, yeah, but ... Because I don't think that's not the right way to say anything. You can say that about any season, anytime. You can say, hey, the 49ers should have won the championship, but they were banged up all year. So that's why they didn't make the playoffs. And that's why they didn't win the Super Bowl.
The Colts should win every year because I like them. But since football means something different than that, I'm going to have to wait till they put a team together.
Yeah. So anyway, that's trying to speak for Dustin a little bit too, and I'm sure he would say something similar. But.
Yeah, I think didn't the best performance from the Pacers come from a bench player for most of the playoffs? That guy scored 42.
Benedict
What was his name?
Mathurin was a bench player, yeah, and he
Yeah,
was
and I
awesome
mean
in
he had a
Game 6,
breakout
or Game
performance.
3.
So yeah, if he had done something like that and the Pacers stepped up, we're talking about an entirely different thing. But, you know, it is what it is, and they were able to do other things other than have Tyrese Halliburton injured. Otherwise, the score would have been 100 and something to 18. Whenever he left, nobody else would have done anything. You know what I mean? If it was that important.
Right. Yeah. I can't think of a time, and I'm not sure it's happened, that a quarterback, for example, has been knocked out of a Super Bowl. But that's similar to what you would think when your best player in basketball is knocked out. But it's not the same because basketball is such a team sport, even more so than football sometimes, because football, the quarterback has the ball every single play, and
just the weight of the equation, you got 1/11th of a problem handling the ball versus 1/5 of a problem handling the ball, and there's just so much more going on that one guy on a football team is much more replaceable than one guy on a basketball team, I think, no matter what.
Unless it's the quarterback, but yeah.
I don't know. You pay a lot of money to have those guys in line. You know what I mean? And even a free agent can chuck a ball, you know?
I mean, I guess when you're talking about Brock Purdy coming off the bench and doing nothing from nothing. So.
Hey, yay for Scott's 49ers.
I think I have to side with Scott on that one, Nancy. The quarterback is the most important position, on the field, and while yes, there's 10 other people who can do something. If you're taking out, granted, a star quarterback, if it's just a mediocre, not doing that with a great quarterback, but you're taking out a star quarterback, that's going to affect the team no matter what. Now it is the coach's job to figure out a way around it, but it's going to be a lot harder without that quarterback.
Tell that to the Lions when they had Barry Sanders. You just need a star. You don't need a quarterback. You need a star, and you need other people to play around him.
And usually, this is all hypothetical at this point.
This is fun though.
If you get to a Super Bowl, you probably have a pretty dang good quarterback.
Yeah.
back in the Trent Dilfer era where the Ravens won with Trent Dilfer at quarterback, he gets injured, you put Tony Banks in, and you're fine. So, but it's a little bit different with a few other guys. Like I don't know if Philadelphia wins that game if Jalen Hurts goes out and you put in Gardner Minshew, right? Was that the
That's a
guy
fair
that always
point.
was?
That's Look, the quarterback is important. I just think that in basketball, you have less of a chance to overcome that injury than in football. I feel like in football, it's kind of more stylized to be everybody's replaceable. You know what I mean? The quarterback, less so. I do have to agree on that the quarterback is kind of the computer hard drive of the whole thing. And so you do need
There
that to work.
there are more options in football.
Right.
Maybe is a good way to say there are more options of how to go around it. I wouldn't necessarily say if it's easier or not, depending on the quarterback.
Fair play.
Yeah, but I mean, basketball is already a pretty team sport where, the same guy's not going to touch the ball every single time down the floor necessarily. Uh,
Right.
and so you can sometimes get away with it. You can hide guys by on defense by putting them on the worst offensive player, then they and then they can play on offense. They've done that a lot with like Steph Curry in the past or James Harden in the past. Put him on the worst kind of offensive player on the other team. Don't let his energy get so down, and so he has the most energy on the other side of the court. You have a little bit of options because you don't have necessarily the quarterback unless maybe the point guard, traditional point guard, who's you know taking the basketball most of the time down the court. I'm not sure a traditional point guard exists all that much anymore in basketball. So yeah, um, I would play other videos from Dustin, but I don't want you guys to just sit here. He has like 11 of them, so uh, I don't want you guys to just sit there. But we can play a few others for those on here, and I can translate what he has something to say about the Pacers offseason in particular. Now that Tyrese Halliburton is out, and it's the same thing with the Boston Celtics when Jason Tatum went out. So both of those guys, both of those teams, essentially are down their best player heading into next year for all of next year. And so, what does that mean for those over the next couple of months? We'll review these NBA teams to division by division every week and talk about what their future looks like, especially those two teams in particular that lost their best player. But any particular thoughts from you guys about Pacers may not be back next year in this position because their best player is going to miss the entire season? So. Same thing with the Celtics.
I guess, yeah, I don't really have anything to say. What is the typical time length that you recover from the Achilles? Is it 8 months or so, or less than that?
Uh, I mean, technology has improved a lot. That it's gone down. It can be as short as 6 months. That's what. Who was it that Aaron Rodgers was back and throwing in 6 months?
So
And
then
so
Halliburton missing all next year isn't really all out of the realm of possibilities. He could be back halfway through, right?
he could be back in February. That's possible. It depends how his rehab goes, how bad it was, and how much the medical team wants to push him out there because obviously we've seen what happens if your Achilles is bad. Klay Thompson back in the finals tore his Achilles in 2017, 18, whatever it was, tried to come back too early and tore his other Achilles.
Oh,
Uh, Trying to come back too early, and so it's really it's a dangerous injury because you stress it too much and uh, you hurt another thing. You're putting too much pressure on another part of your body, and so you got to be careful as a medical team and everything. And so I would imagine that uh, the earliest he would be back is probably March, and at that point, depending on how the Pacers do, they could already be out of it. But I don't know. They're a good team. They have a really good bench. Depending what moves they make this offseason to overcome the loss, they could be right there in the playoffs, and Halliburton could come back for them. So.
Yeah, it's going to be real important to focus on recovery for that because that's your base, man. Like a building starts from the ground up, and so when you're really stressing those different muscles in the way that you were talking about, Scott, like basketball is a rough sport on your body. You're taking all that shock from jumping up and down and directly to an area that was just injured last year. I would honestly say keep him out until you need him to come back. Ensure that he's healthy. And if that costs them a season, personally, that might need to be what happens to be realistic, just to look out for his career. And that might mean he's not a pacer again, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll stick it out for him and stay with him through that injury. I'd like to see that happen. But realistically, for his health and his career to advance, this situation needs to be handled pretty delicately and the right way. If they put him out there before he's too early, I think he runs the risk of injuring another limb or hurting that same one over again, similar to Klay Thompson. Because when you're overworking these already overworked parts of the engine, it's just a matter of time until you're fixing everything and you're just trying to slap tape on stuff,
Yeah, good point. Okay, anything else about the NBA Finals? We have 2 other topics to cover tonight. The other 2 could be quick, but we'll see. Staying in the NBA draft is going on right now. The second round of the draft is going on right now. The first round was yesterday. They used to do it in one day, but maybe a few years ago they split the days. And to everyone's obvious shock, Cooper Flagg was taken number 1 by the Dallas Mavericks. That's sarcastic, by the way. Everyone knew he was going number 1, and the Mavericks did take him. They have a potential starting lineup of Flagg, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively at center. That's 4 really good players, as long as Flagg is a good rookie, as I imagine he will be, and a really good defensive center. So the Mavericks could have a really good team next year too, despite trading away Luka Doncic.
Yeah, that Doncic trade was crazy to me. I thought that was kind of out of nowhere, as it was for kind of everybody, right? Even for Doncic and for Davis, even they were kind of taken by surprise, I think, in that trade. I do think it kind of worked out for both teams, honestly, more than I thought it would. I didn't think that trade made any sense, but it seemed to work out well. And I think that the Mavericks are going to be kind of a contender next year. Honestly, I think that's a good team. I'm kind of on your side there. If he can come in and not necessarily fill Doncic's shoes, but if he can play to a similar caliber or add something different that other teams haven't seen, I see a lot of success for Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, first off, it goes back to the conversation we had probably a month ago or so now about wondering, if this is rigged or not, the way that Mavericks got this first overall pick. But for me, I guess I think I'm kind of on a different side of where you guys are. I think that it didn't necessarily work out because although they're getting Flagg, he's unproven right now, right? I mean, we've seen him in college. He's a fantastic college player, but as far as NBA goes, it's a totally different game against completely different players. And so, but Luka was proven. Now imagine if Luka and Flagg were on the same team. Now that would have been a deadly mix. And so, had they not done that, traded him away and yet got this lottery pick, that would be a seriously scary team we're looking at. And so, I think that the Mavericks still made a mistake trading him away.
I think that's fair. Duke, in addition,
you're muted, Scott.
Thank you. I said I think that's fair to say. Duke, in addition to having Cooper Flagg go number 1, had 2 other players go in the top 14 in the lottery pick. They had Con Newpel and Kaman Maluach, and I don't know how to pronounce either of those names, but Maluach, I think, is how you pronounce that. Maluach went to the Houston Rockets, and Newpel went to the Charlotte Hornets. A couple of other ones to call out. BYU's Agor Demeen, the 6'9" point guard, went number 8 to the Brooklyn Nets. And I think those are the ones that I have to call out in the first round, at least. Nick Clifford, the guy from CSU up north here, went number 24 to the Sacramento Kings. So NBA draft is live in the second round now, and we saw a couple of big moves in the offseason as well. If you haven't seen this news, I'd be surprised, but Kevin Durant traded from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets. So Durant will be playing for the Rockets next year. Dustin had a reaction on that, and I'll tell you what he said. He said that the Rockets had to give up a lot to get Durant, and so not sure if it's really an actual jump for the Rockets to get him, because they had to give up 2 of their best players already, and Durant is aging, and so wonder if the Rockets actually improved.
Much in the style of Kevin Durant's play, but that's buying a car without kicking the tires, man. That's a mistake. You're going to end up with a lemon there, homie. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that male pattern baldness will tell you his testosterone's dropping. And look, I'm telling you, Durant's just getting too old, bro. You don't need to sell the entire house to get one guy that's going to be done in 2 years. That math ain't mathin' for me.
Yeah. And then the Celtics pretty much abandoned ship. They Drew Holiday's gone. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. They seem to be rebuilding, knowing almost to even though they won a championship 2 years ago, they seem to be almost tanking this next year because Jason Tatum won't play, and they're wanting to tank for draft pick. I don't like that, but that's what it seems like they're doing. Okay. The other topic to talk about is the Stanley Cup final. The NHL, the Florida Panthers won in 5 games. They beat the Edmonton Oilers to become back-to-back champions in the NHL now, over the same team, Edmonton Oilers both times. So the Florida Panthers are now starting a real dynasty in the NHL, back-to-back champions. Can they make it three in a row? Well, that's a question for next year, but Edmonton Oilers sure want to get back and see if they can finally win one for Canada.
How in the world does that make sense that any human being in Florida would have talent for hockey? I'm just curious, like, how do they practice more or something? Like, it just, none of that makes sense to me. I guess Florida's just got it. They've always been good at different sports, but to include hockey seems so bonkers to me.
Yeah, Florida beating Canada hockey, it's almost like America beating Europe or something like that in soccer. It's just
I feel that way. Like, it's just not true. Hey, who invited this guy? Like, that's, I feel like that's how Florida would feel at a hockey game.
Yeah, I'm sure the entire country of Canada is a little upset about that, getting beat by a Florida team. So, yeah. Good points. Okay, those were our 3 topics today. So, do either of you two have anything else to bring up that you want to talk about in terms of any topics or memories or?
Jon Jones retired. Jon Jones retired from mixed martial arts. which stripped him of the belt and gave it to Tom Aspinall, who was our new undisputed heavyweight champion, without ever having to fight the best fighter in the world, because the best fighter in the world was ducking him like a scaredy cat. I don't like that. I love John Jones. I think he's one of the baddest men alive. But he basically was like, that fight's beneath me. I'm going to just duck out. I'm good. I'm rich as hell. I don't need to fight this dude. And I don't like that, because it was like, yeah, that's why we want you to fight him. He's the young buck, and you kept retiring and coming back and smashing into pregnant ladies and leaving the scene and punching your wife and all this other stuff that just chopped up your career into different sections. We would have liked to see you go out on a fight. And that's not what happened, but it is what it is. And that was my MMA minute. Is John Jones retired and we have a new heavyweight champion.
I did see that too. Yeah.
I do have one small thing as well with in golf, U.S. Open. JJ Spawn won the U.S. Open with a miraculous 35 or 40-foot putt to win it all. This is at Oakmont, which was in Pennsylvania, which is one of the hardest courses to play. The rough at that golf course is insanely thick. And it was fun watching these professionals struggle and look like, an actual, well, not an actual, but me, like a normal amateur golfer. They're hitting it in the woods, they're hitting in the water, in the sand, they're four putting. It was kind of crazy to see. And so I think the best score was 3 over par, which is typically they're 12 to 15 under. And so the best score, JJ Spawn, I think he actually won it 1 under. I know I think about it, but yeah, had a miraculous putt. It was fun to watch. Got really close at the end. So congrats to him. And it was fun to finally watch a major in golf where they're not just hitting every shot beautifully.
2 things about golf real quick. I've hit a 35-foot putt once, and it was like the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I remember it. It was in Hawaii too. I played golf in Hawaii and hit a long putt to get par. I'm not getting a birdie. I landed on the green in 3 and get a 35-footer to knock it in. The second thing I wanted to mention about golf is, Yancey, do you remember the first time you played golf with my?
I was just gonna say, do you remember going to Howell Park and I almost smoked somebody, bro?
Yeah. Well, there are 2 things I remember that. Yeah, you just about hit a line drive off a 60-year-old guy's head, but
Yeah, I almost killed a guy. Brick almost killed a guy. Who gave him a club? Like, for real, it was sketchy.
yeah. But then on like that, I don't know, the first hole or even the second hole, you pitched one in from I don't know, 40, 50 feet out. The first time you're golfing, you pitch one in from the rough.
Complete beginner's luck. I haven't done that since. I don't even think I've played golf outside of putt-putt, unless it was with you guys, to be completely honest. So that we can call a fluke safely.
That was fun.
I guess while we're talking about golf, I golf pretty often. I went golfing today, and I was actually able to get a birdie, which does not happen often for me. I got a birdie off of a 30-foot putt, so it was pretty cool to see that. All luck, there's no chance I could do it again, but it's always fun to play golf. So, yeah.
Usually, what happens with me is I hit a beautiful drive down to on a par 3, get within 10 feet of the hole, and then 3-putt my way to a bogey. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
So.
No short game for me. I can smack that thing and send it I don't know where it's going. Left, right, middle, whatever. It's going though. It is gonna fall. It's gonna end up far away from me, but I don't know in what direction it's going. And then when I have to walk up to it to hit it the next time, I'm still pissed off from chasing it. So I always hit it too hard, like in tennis. And then it just whoop, whoop, whoop. Then we're chasing around the green like we're cutting the grass.
Okay. Well, I think we can end a little bit early tonight. As far as next week, it is July 3rd. We will not be having a podcast because of the holiday. I think a few of us will be on vacation. And then I will be out the following week. In fact, I'll be out both of the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be in Minnesota for about 10 days this next week. And so I'll be out the week after that, but you guys can still do that podcast on the 10th without me. We'll figure those things out if you guys want to do that. And so when we finally return, all four of us together on July 17th, we will be doing two things in particular. We'll be doing the first division of the NBA season in review, which is the Atlantic Division. That includes the 76ers, Celtics, Knicks, Nets, and Raptors. Those are the 5 teams that we'll do a review of. And we will do our first season review or season preview of the NFL, which is the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, New England Patriots, and Miami Dolphins. So
I think everyone, including myself, is to work on that preview. I don't see a whole lot of progress there.
Yep. Just fill out those questions. We'll be doing it in real time rather than looking back on it. We'll be doing it kind of in real time with the 4 of us. So as well. But getting Pam and our dad's opinions as well to throw in there too.
So you don't want us filling it out yet?
No, you can go ahead and fill it out. Yes, I'm just saying the discussion will be in real time as we look at what we have filled out, and we will pick the divisions in real time. We're not doing that in advance. We'll be doing that in real time. So. Yeah.
And the last thing is, what the heck is in Minnesota? There's nothing there, is there?
Brock Lesnar.
We'll be in northern Minnesota. Lakes and fishing and cabins and fireworks.
They got pretty land.
Yeah.
It's pretty out there.
Yep. I've never been up to northern Minnesota before, so going up there and doing some fun things. So.
Cool. All right, boys.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.